right. So anyway, yeah, got a bunch of power users on here, and we want to give each of you about 5 minutes, go around, show what you've got, and go from there. I have a feeling that that's pretty much going to use up the time slot that we have here. But anyway, so next week, the advanced webinar, Todd is planning to go into work breakdown structures and actually present. And the following week after that, for now, the plan is to go into concrete estimating, but we'll play it by ear. And for this meeting, we'll just let each of you have 5 minutes and show what you've got. So with that, anybody in particular want to go first? Brian, you were the first one on the meeting. Do you want to show anything that you've built or?
There we go. I think you can hear me now, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. I was just looking at something, trying to get a. Give me a minute. Let me organize myself on a job that would make sense to everybody, I think, and
Okay.
maybe move on to somebody else.
Yep. Anybody else ready with anything that they would like to show? Or we could even have Todd go into some of, presenting some of his stuff. If I probably should have given you guys a little more heads up, but oh, Jake Jones. Okay, let me unmute you here, Jake. Sorry.
Cool.
A
That works.
million things popping up. So
Right. Let's see if I can share my screen. So I will say I'm still new to ZZ. I had been on PlanSwift and on screen for a few years. I bought my first PlanSwift license way back in 2013. And most of my stuff has not really imported. I've really been using ZZ more as just a takeoff tool instead of an estimating solution. But that said, in the first 60 days, some of what I have come up with is really cool. So, and we're an estimating consultancy. Can you all see
yep.
my ZZ window? Okay, good deal.
Yep.
So we're an estimating consultancy. We work for several different clients. And so this is one of my clients that specializes in groundworks, light civil for like residential stuff, up to and including the slabs. And so I've been able to build out some just quick assemblies for them for like footers, where it's calculating the amount of concrete they need to put in it, what they need to haul off. When they're cleaning up their footers, whether they're putting down stone. And these are really simple formulas, but the ability to work a formula in to calculate blocks and figure out block work for them has been really helpful, calculating how much concrete we're going to need to fill cores. So that's one of my things. The other is I gotta swap workspaces here. We've got another one that we've started off building out for this another heavy civil client that does larger earth moving projects, underground utilities. So we've got formulas to calculate the mega lugs for the fittings, how much concrete they're going to need for thrust blocking. And again, these guys have only been on zzTakeoff for about 3 weeks. So we've made a tremendous amount of headway there. And then the coolest, biggest project that's underway. And I got to shout out Todd because he helped me a lot with this. But we've got a giant master list going of all of my heavy civil takeoff items. And these are they're referenced back to a code book code. And so that code book code is the item identifier in this client's estimating software. So when we export our spreadsheet out of zzTakeoff, the item code's already there, the name's already there, the quantity, the units, that's already there. it makes, and I'm working on right now, because right now I've got two spreadsheets and I got to move stuff over manually. I'm going to figure out a macro here soon where it will match based on this codebook code number and bring it across. And then I've also been playing a little bit with the Bidbo integration. And that is also really exciting, because then soon we'll have the ability to literally just push a button through an API, and everything that's on the takeoff report will come over categorized straight into Bidbo.
Hey, one question with your templates. So when you say different workspaces, are those like your other clients' workspaces? So
Yes.
Each client has different templates. Do you have access to their templates?
Yes.
That's a crazy concept to me, but I like it.
You know, it's new. I didn't realize I could do it 3 weeks ago. And it wasn't because the first client, Canner, I had been working for them. They had their own license for ZZ, and I would just share my projects with them. And one of the things that I'd asked for as a feature request was like, could I just share by folder? Excuse me. And then when Bear came on board, it was they shared their whole workspace with me, and suddenly I realized I could move jobs back and forth between workspaces and share templates back and forth between workspaces. And suddenly, you know, it was a mind-blowing moment of, if all of my clients get on ZZ that need a takeoff solution, then I can work in their workspace all day long.
Yeah.
So, excuse me.
You're good. Yeah, that's awesome to see what you've built there. And it looks like you've got a dark mode going before we even officially release our dark mode. That's cool.
I was going to ask that too. Do you like the dark mode?
I do. I have figured out a way to wrangle a dark mode on every single piece of software that I can. And honestly, this one's really, really easy. I use Edge because I've got a multi-purpose mouse here, which maybe it won't blur.
Yep.
But I have all these buttons mapped. So I've got a button that's mapped to the arc. I've got a button that's mapped to new section. I've got a button that's mapped to magnifier. And they switch based on what program I'm in. If I'm in Edge, they do one thing. If I'm over in Bluebeam, they do that same button does another feature.
That is so cool.
The experimental features within Edge, because it's Chromium based, are the same. So go to Edge, :/flags, and then search for auto dark mode for web contents. And you could do enabled with selective image inversion, or selective inversion of everything, and it will flip it. It's not perfect. There are some colors that won't invert, like your blues come across as gray, but it's good enough for working.
Yeah, just so you know, the built-in dark mode that's in this next release, it's already built. Heber's shown me some of it. It will run faster in the browser, because when the browser does the inverting, it takes a little bit of processing power. So we've actually rebuilt like all the icons and everything in dark mode, so it'll run faster. So it'll be even faster and better, and it has an option to invert the plans if you want. But yeah, I was impressed when you started sharing your screen that you've got it kind of hacked in there to where it's working. That looks really nice.
Cool, thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Jake, one other question. Are you using the custom folders, the gray folders at all within your clients yet? That's what I guess I'll share what we're doing at some point, but
no, I'm not. The work breakdown structure folders?
Yeah, the gray ones.
Yep.
I'm not. And honestly, I didn't know they were there until I saw whatever post it was in the community the last couple of days where someone mentioned it. And that went into my my squirrel cage to go, I gotta go figure that out.
Yeah.
Probably me. Well, I'll share my stuff whenever I get that too.
Yeah, was there anything else you wanted to present, Jake?
I think that's mostly it.
Okay.
You know, the just the way that, this is not a good job to show, but just the way that the reporting works, where I can do my groups by folder and everything fits up. the fact that now we've got on a top line number on the folders
Yep.
really kind of helps to make sense of something. Sometimes it's a garbage number like here, but if you set your folder structures up right, it can be really helpful.
Yeah.
And then the ability to bounce back and forth. Apparently this one doesn't have any items in it. That was just a quickie one I put together, but yeah, I will say the reporting is impressive too.
Yeah, for sure. And definitely shout out to Todd for all the help that he's done on these for users, helping them get going, the videos he's put out and everything too. So, but yeah, if that's it for you, Jake, Kyle, do you want to go next with and show the work breakdown structure, those gray folders?
Sure. Okay, so here, just to make sure it's working. So a couple things. I guess let's do the gray folders. So we use Edify currently, and it really, I'm trying to make it look seamless. So if I'm in Edify, it looks similar. If I'm in zzTakeoff, it looks similar. So we have specific WBS codes for uniformat and scope classification. So it's like, so here's all our uniformat widgets. Let's just look at floor construction, for example. Here's all our floor construction. If I click on any one of these items, we have these linked to our Edify product catalog. So you can literally export this to CSV. You do your takeoff. Let me just do an example. Add to estimate, do your takeoff. Awesome, good job. Now you can export this to CSV, and you know, zzTakeoff built this for us because our database is all in lowercase. So we're kind of ADD with our case sensitiveness because right now zzTakeoff's in uppercase. So, you know, we need everything in lowercase, and then we want to exclude, we don't need all the stuff that doesn't have zero quantities. So you just export that thing, drag and drop that into Edify, and like it's in. It's as basic of an import as you can get, but you know, it has the product ID, brings over the description, the quantity, unit of measure, period, and then it does. All our database has specific coding for all the uniformats and all the structure that we typically use at our company. So back to these gray folders. So if you want to like move things around, you can drag and drop just like you can in the yellow folders. But the cool thing about the gray folders is now we can group this in by another level. So we use OST, and OST you're limited to conditions, and it's only one level. So it's always been painful for us to either have to start with the uniformat template, or you have to start with the scope classification template. You were always mixing and matching. It sucked to train people on two workflows. So now you can just sort it by, you know, you hit the UF3, hit the scope classification. So now this is a great way to train people on uniformat, because when new people come to estimating, they're like, what's uniformat? Like, oh boy. Well, sort it by this, and now you can kind of understand how these play together, right? Cast in place concrete. There's all your widgets, go to town. And then we also added use group is a super important thing in Edify. So that transfers over too. Just learned how to import that pretty recently. It's kind of the same kind of workflow. We have a use group spot down here. You have to type it in exactly how it's typed in. So you type it in, you know, hotel, whatever you call it, and then it's grouped like that. And now you can group your takeoff by use group. Let me switch this up. So you can do use group and then whatever grouping you want to do. So here's my use group. Now I go do my takeoffs for my next level of WBS. So it's like I'm taking off in my estimating software if we get this set up right. That's, so any questions with that? I want to talk about assemblies next.
Real quick before you go, Kyle, if you're not familiar with how to do the gray folders or use them, I just put a video in the advanced channel on our community under the videos at the very bottom. Okay.
Yeah, and it's so intuitive. You just go to settings and go to custom properties and set it up however you want. I'm like, this is awesome. Granted, importing these kind of sucks, and you guys need a better way to import these codes, because you can't copy and paste. I gave you crap about that already, but
yeah, we'll get there. Just so you know, Kyle, Heber's also working on a copy to clipboard and then paste from clipboard with Edify, so you don't have to actually touch the file. So it just copies it to a CSV in the clipboard and then pastes from the clipboard. It's in process. It's not there yet, but that'll save you some time. So.
Nice. So the other thing to hit on is concrete assemblies. So we do self-perform concrete and Enso Phelps, so we're kicking around how to do this. So I actually built an assembly in Edify, took 30 minutes, and I went into zzTakeoff. Hey, can I recreate the thing? I'm like, yes, I can. Awesome. So I mean, you guys probably know how to do this, but this is in our templates, cast in place concrete. I've only done one right now. Form, place, finish. I'm going to drop this one on my takeoff. When I saw the demo of somebody doing this, I'm like, holy crap, is this real? Like, just watch all these quantities as I draw. So I'm just going to draw a slab on grade, and you see how the quantities just start going. You're like, sweet. Like, is this real? And then you can name it whatever you want, copy, duplicate. I learned you can make little formulas. You just say depth. So if you change the depth to 12 inches, it'll be 1 foot thick. I gave zzTakeoff crap too. If it's like 9 inches or 8 inches, I'm like, hey, only need 2 decimals. But
yeah,
you get the
we'll
point.
Get that fixed.
But the fact that you could just, gravel. Now I'm going. This was a super hard concept for me to get used to, because I'm an OST user. This is the one-to-many ratio. In OST, it's always just one to one. I draw this, that was it. But now that we have the power to do many, the many being the things underneath it, that's where you're like, holy crap. Now we can link all these widgets to our database items. And I think that's going to be the best path forward. But like one example, gravel. Well, the thickness might vary. 12 inches thick, you could change it here. And setting up these formulas is just so like intuitive. Once you learn that, I can make anything I want. Like if I want to times this by waste, I just do times. You just got to do the left square brackets, waste 2, and then you get another variable you can make. Awesome. And you can update your templates or just do it on the fly. So that was the big thing. I've also just imported all our finishes. Edify has a special finish for the floor, wall, base, ceiling, and it kind of works with their room schedule. So I literally just copy and pasted all of my database, left side database, Edify, right side zzTakeoff, and here's all my floor, wall, base, ceiling finishes. So I linked all these with the item product, and this was like zero work for me. I'm just copying, pasting, and making this, trying it. Hey, is this going to work? I don't know. But the point is, like, rooms, this is another like one-to-many thing. So if I add to takeoffs, here's my rooms. One of the questions I get from OST users is, well, OST, I can select multiple objects and do things one at a, I can do all the floor finishes, wall, ceiling, all at the same time. Well, you can in zzTakeoff with this one-to-many ratio widget. So you get the point. So now I'm sending this over to zzTakeoff or over to Edify, all with one line item. Like, let me copy and paste this to do another room just for effect. Because you don't want to have 2 line items in your estimate for ACT standard. I mean, estimate's gonna blow up and it's gonna be annoying as heck, right? Well, you can go to your reports, item reports, and now it's just gonna be one widget for ACT standard. And you can even group it with your rooms underneath it to figure out your rooms as well. So, you know, and we're able to get I was kicking around using the SKU for the special link to Edify. But I don't think, I think the item's going to be a better spot for it. I think SKU would want to save that for actual materials in the future, but I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother layer that I guess it's worth talking about. So if I double click on this widget, so this is meant to tie to materials, this product list, and it could be like Home Depot. Pretend that it's at Home Depot. I was exploring Edify product list, but you know, you can search for tile and just kind of find stuff that you need, and brings over the cost if you had it in your database and all that jazz. But so I'm kicking around workflows trying to figure out what works, but I think the item level is going to be the best, because you can have product lists, and then you can have items, and you can sort these by the gray folders. This was a big thing for me that I learned. Like, oh, cool, I can have the same sorting structure here as in my templates. UF3 here and UF3 everywhere.
Yeah.
That carries over to your reports with the same gray folder names.
Well, it was a big revelation for me on my freaking about 4M bike ride. I need to share this, because it was like, oh, I can do this. Because first I was making a uniformat separate list for items and a separate list for that. But yeah, if you click into the edit custom properties, you can apply to all takeoffs, which is the top level, the OST level, right? And then you can do, I need to set this up for all items. So now that WBS gray folder sort applies to all items. Like, sweet. And now I don't have to re-import this list I spent 30 minutes trying to do before.
Yeah. Now you know.
But I know I'm going down a rabbit hole. The other thing I want to talk about is like multiple users. So that's one of the challenges we have with, or we don't have with OST. Everybody's in their own little silo. It works great, right? It's just me. But now we have to deal with multiple people. And the thing that sucks about zzTakeoff is if I turn this off, it turns off on my other people's screen.
Right.
That's where it's like, oh boy, what do we do? And maybe that's fine. I mean, it kind of does. Maybe it doesn't matter. I don't know. But what the recommended workflow I'm showing people when they're new is this concept called layers. So this is an awesome feature. We've been using this for when you get multiple drawing sets. So if I'm at 50% CDs, awesome. And then I'll make another folder for, 80% CD sets. So we do all our estimates, all our takeoffs in one file, one project, which is cool. And the reason that works is because of this concept of layers. So I'm going to do a new layer and call it, I tell people you do your initial and then the drawing set 50% CDs. So the cool thing about this is you get a blank slate, you get a blank condition slate, and then you can start over. So you create layers. Now it's just me. I know I got to go to this layer when I open it up and go to town. Like that's the best workflow I found to tell people. Just work in your own world. Don't worry about anybody else. Not as messy. And it's been working great. So I don't know if anybody else has had success with multiple users, or can anybody outline what they're doing?
I think by default, go ahead, sorry.
Would you invite your subs to this, Kyle? I think that's kind of the plan we had in mind with the layers was a general contractor could invite their subs to do a takeoff, and the subs would have their own layer in here. It's not quite fully baked yet, they're finished, but we were thinking like the subs would have their own layers that they could do their own takeoffs on without seeing the other subs takeoffs too.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, that's like futuristic, right? They use their own tools, they have their own workflows. But if I like, there's a landscaper in Rocky that we use, and I'm going to freaking invite him. So we're going to try it. We haven't tried it yet, but I get that's the whole purpose of layers. But we also need a better workflow for drawing sets. How do we share drawing sets, and how do we deal with multiple users? It's all like, I'm just trying to find the best workflow.
Yeah. Version control is a big thing. We've had a lot of people request version control. And one thing we've added in as a short-term fix was the duplicate job when you get a change order or an addenda. A lot of people are duplicating the project. I don't know if you guys have used that concept at all, but it does help freeze your takeoff of what you've taken off at this point in time, and then duplicate the project so you can do a takeoff or modify a takeoff on a separate project without having to alter the original takeoff. So I don't know if you guys are using that duplicate job for that purpose, but it's helped a lot of people out since we put it in there.
A lot of customers are doing that when they're awarded a job. They'll take the job and duplicate it and keep one as like their unchanged version when it was awarded to them. And then any change orders and everything they do in a new copy. That way they can reference the original anytime. But yeah, I would say most users are actually using the same layer, at least from the experience I have talking to customers. Most of them are doing it all on the same layer, and then they just filter because it shows who created it in the reports. If they want to see what they've done, they can filter it to created by, and it'll show which user created it. So I would say most users, at least the ones I've talked to, are actually just doing it all on one layer. And then if they want to show or hide things, they are showing or hiding things. And we have talked about potentially making it so each user can have their own view and select what is hidden, what is shown. But right now, with the collaborative view, the whole idea behind that was everybody's going to see the same thing. So if one guy's in the field and pulls up the plans, and the estimator in the office pulls up the same page, they're going to see exactly the same view. And there's power in having it that way. But I also understand the disadvantage that you brought up, Kyle, too. So we will be making more improvements around that. So
I see, and we've tried doing folders, the yellow folders for layers, for people. That actually worked pretty good too, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to group it by folder. That's why it's not working.
Right.
You got to group it by yellow folder, and then you can insert folder. So the folders I don't know. That's another problem. I like saying problem. It's another problem I have with zzTakeoff is the breakout of quantities, like think areas and zones. Like I feel like we could use folders for that, break out one instead of people, but when you're moving stuff around, but you kind of get workflow. Like, what's your thoughts on breakouts? Like, let's say I had to break out this line into two widgets. Like, I need to quantify. I want a separate quantity for that one and a separate quantity for that one. Like, I'd love to be able to draw a box around all the quantities and break it out.
Yep.
That's definitely been a struggle in some cases.
Yeah, they are making progress on that. And we've even talked about potentially being able to split an area. Like, what if the box you draw goes right down the middle of an area, or down the middle of a line? And we do have break apart on the line in there now. But eventually we'll probably even have it where you can break an area and then set it to a separate zone. So they are making progress on that. There's not really a way to do it outside of like doing a property on the section and calling it something. But we'll make more progress on that. But I don't know how many other users want some time, or Kyle, if there was anything else you wanted to hit on before we move on. but you're
all good.
you're
That was
good.
a lot.
Okay. Yeah, well, you're a pretty advanced user in there, so it was a lot of good feedback to share for users here. Brian, do you feel like you're ready now, or should we see if somebody else wants to go?
Sure.
Okay, perfect.
All right. Actually, I'm gonna go screen. Okay. How are we looking there? See,
Can't see it yet.
there
It's
we
coming
go.
up though.
There we
It's
go.
coming up. Yep, we can see it now.
All right, very good. So, some of the stuff around too. So I came from PlanSwift as well, like probably everybody else, or more a lot of people, and I had a lot of things built in. And I was kind of worried in the beginning, not worried, but like, oh, I just want to drag and drop everything in there. But realistically, I just never did it. Just kind of as I use this every single day, I just kind of go with it, and kind of built some just basic templates. I bid all actually we're self-performed site utility and excavation contractors. So I kind of just know what we do, what we need to do, and that's all. I'm not working for anybody else but our own company. So I kind of just built my own templates based on colors with all the piping that I've kind of created. And that's where I was monkeying around with I need to know, based on a length or a section from this manhole to this manhole, what the trench width is going to be, depending on the pipe size, depending on the depth, all that stuff. And I actually have created an entire like Excel form to put all that into. This was before I came around with ZZ. So that's where Kyle was talking, where I built these basically items that connect to the linear takeoff in this instance, that as we for instance, this one, as this 50 feet, all this stuff just starts populating, and it's really, really helps me out. But how I use that is I have created, oh yeah, and back to, I just use yellow folders. That's what, and again, you'll see why I do this in a second here. I just kind of break it all out by pipe and pipe size. And then obviously I go into my inlets and manholes and all that stuff. But how I use all this every day is I go into reports, and I have created a team report, basically a custom report that is a exact mirror of my Excel estimating sheet. So then I can just take, and this is what saves me a boatload of time, is I can take that, copy, and I paste it right into my Excel form, and it gives me, and I think we can get here at some point with ZZ, but I just haven't done it 100% yet. Like fully trusted, I guess, let's say that, to get my quantities. And then, so that's how I get all this information. If I can, I'm going to drag one more screen into here. So this is this is our Excel sheet that we use. And how I actually get all this information is I will take and fill in all these yellow cells. And basically what it ends up giving me is all my spoils removed, my trench backfill, all this, and it all kicks back to, sorry about that. In the end, the bottom here, it gives me all my stone, and I can do all sorts of stuff with this. But that is how I use it. Now I don't use all the cost codes and all the stuff you guys are using. But this is pretty simple for me, and I really like it. And then obviously another version of a report that just helps me. I think Jake was talking about that, where you can easily just find these totals very quickly. So I am doing a little bit of extra data input on my Excel sheet, but I don't really mind that because I can double check myself and all sorts of stuff. The other thing, that wasn't really a great one, but yeah, I'm using how I'm organizing my jobs, because yeah, we're a kind of a first come in contractor, so a lot of times we'll bid this job 8 times before we actually get it. So I will just always have yellow folders. For instance, go to this one. So this is before I really started monkeying around with these layers like you guys were talking about. But what I was doing is each version set, I would just make a new folder for them. And that's where then I was able to, start doing overlays and see what's different and all that good stuff. So that's kind of the gist of, and I'm kind of starting to play around with adding production rates to this particular section, but obviously it all depends on like our cut height, how deep we're going to be cutting, what the width is. There's a lot of factors, and I haven't been able to get that yet, but also honestly I've been so busy that you got to keep doing your real job too. The one thing I've run into, which is more of a request, is has there been any talk about, obviously these items are tied to the linear. Is there any talk about a sub item that it could pull from? If I was, let me really fast here. This is what I was testing. So in this instance, and I was just playing around with this is just 127 feet of pipe. Well, this is PVC pipe. And what I would like this to do is these are 14-foot sticks.
Yep.
And what I was hoping for is, or the way I got it now, I set up just a custom property where I can put the length of this pipe. But what I really want is for like this one to say, let's see what we say, like how much footage to order when you order all the waste and put waste and Roundup, all that stuff. But it's not drawing from, it's drawing from like the parent company or parent item. Yep. Versus if this could draw, so like this only works if I come back in here and put in 11 sticks of pipe. You know what I'm saying? Does that make any sense to everybody? Whereas I would like it to pull from that item, which already has what that's going to pull from there. But I don't know. I apologize if I'm not being clear, but hopefully that makes some sense.
No, it does. Todd, do you have any ideas? Because I guess what I'm thinking is at the main where he has it labeled test, he could make 11 show up in that name, right?
Well, I think maybe the best thing would be to talk about this next update that's coming out that the team's working on. Yeah. It's going to carry, you're going to be able to have takeoff properties within takeoff properties. You're going to have formulas that carry from one property down to another or another, if you like. It's coming out real soon. And it's going to be like Plan Swift, only with steroids and everything else on the way the formula is used to carry from part to part. I've seen them working on it. It's pretty darn cool.
Yeah, there will be a lot of improvements on that in this next update, but I'm pretty sure we could figure out a way to display it here. Todd is the guru at that, but yeah, it should be able to carry up like that test item where he has test. Couldn't he change that name to a formula mode and have it show 11 there?
Oh yeah, for sure. I have done some of that too.
Okay.
Yes.
So you're aware of that process, but okay.
Okay.
I think
Just thought.
Jake had a question for you, Brian.
Yeah, go ahead.
Are you calculating your average depth right now? You want to show them how
Am
you
I?
calculate? Yeah.
Yes.
Show me your formula. I think you got it from Roswell or something, but
Let's see. This was okay. Yeah, so this is where actually it might make more sense. So this is the way I kind of put this all together. Is I just started going down of like what I kind of need, and how do I start explaining this? So I started building these items individually, and obviously, but this is where this is kind of cool. So I made that first cut height actually a cut height calc, and it's just a custom variable or item variable. Is that what they call it, Todd?
I call it a nested formula variable.
Right, nested
Yeah.
formula, just to shorten it all down. But then what I started tinkering with, and Todd brings this up all the time, is first of all, I kind of just made these just like simple numbers, and then I was able to make a custom variable for each one that I can put in. But what I did is what we found out for that is I made custom properties for each one of these possible items, and I only fill them in at the linear level rather than at the item level. And again, if we keep this name the same, it'll grab it from there. So that's helped out boatloads, because what you'll see, obviously you'll see like 6-inch or whatever, this is 4-inch wide stuff. All the pipe radiuses are different, the wall thicknesses are different, the all that stuff is custom to 6-inch size. Whereas, and then I just kind of went down the line with calculating each one of these items that I need. And then this is where this stuff gets pretty cool here. That's what Todd was kind of talking about. But it's all connected to, it's not connected to these items above, but it kind of is.
Soon.
I've seen this. I've seen a screenshot of this, and I'm going, where does this magic come from, and how do I learn it? Because I'm in a similar boat. As a civil estimator, the biggest headache that I have right now that I haven't found a good way to solve is calculating my average depth for my storm and sanitary lines across the whole project.
Sure.
And so what I've got is I've got a spreadsheet that like is from to and
Yeah.
goes into all sorts of things, but I can't figure out a way to integrate that into ZZ in a way that makes sense, where I am not doing just an incredible amount of data entry while I'm trying to measure.
Right. And that's the one thing I do for sure that I changed. I know when I first started doing all this, I would really focus on, I'd find like all the 12-inch pipe and just go do all that. But now I literally break everything down from manhole to manhole. And it's really helped me greatly with, figuring out change orders, figuring out what's changed, with different plan sets and all that jazz. So that is one thing that I've talked to a couple of guys. They've reached out to me like, oh man, I don't want to figure it like that. I'm like, well, I kind of, it works best, or this system works best for me if I break it out like that. But it's, yeah, so that's all the spoils, and then the trench backfill, which is kind of the same thing. And I've also built in, sorry, I should have opened this up. I kind of have these other custom properties where I have location. That's where I would put in from 1 to 2 or whatever. And then I have a place for subgrade, how much, because obviously we're given rims. So you take that off. And then that's where we put in these items, Jake, that you were just talking about. Starting rims, starting inverts, blah, blah, blah. Go down. And if there's an amount that is going to be, green space, or you can put the dirt back in it, I have that. You just put in the like 25 feet or whatever.
Right.
And that's gonna all this stuff is calculating all that, and it took me a bit to figure it all out, but I was glad I had this. I built the Excel thing before, so I had a reference and I could check it both ways. And this is like it's exactly the same now. So
That's awesome.
Yes, James, if you can figure out a way for AI to read and calculate a storm table or read the information off of sanitary profiles, you will have so many heavy civil estimators dancing. Because I've tried a bunch of different ways. I've tried feeding it into ChatGPT and a couple of other LLMs, and they just don't get it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. A lot of times the risk with sending stuff to AI is if it's anything very complex, a lot of times you'll get a different answer each time you ask. So our approach for a lot of this AI type stuff is more of use AI to come up with an algorithm. Once we have an algorithm that works, then we use that algorithm. That way it's repeatable. I mean, it's you're kind of limited in scope if you do that, but for some of these things that you're doing over and over again, it's a more consistent path, as far as more consistent result when we do it. But yeah, the team uh, is working on some foundational stuff right now. The inheritances, more formula capability all across the whole spectrum, and it's going to be really good. Heber's shown me some of what they've built. Dark mode's all done in there, so that'll be in there. But as far as the formulas and inheritances and everything, a lot of really good stuff coming. I mean, I know you can do a ton in there right now, but it'll just break it open even more. So. Yeah, Todd.
Why don't we unmute everybody, give everybody a chance to talk?
Let's do it.
I know there's been a couple people that have been wanting to chime in.
You want me to stop my share?
Sorry.
Oh yeah, sure. Chaz, you had something, or Corey, or somebody.
I believe Chaz was next, but we can share as well.
I think his mic not be working. Chaz, is your mic working?
We can't hear you. It
All
shows
right.
you as unmuted, but it's not doing any audio.
How about Corey? I'm sorry Doug took off, because he's the one that made that such a great comment in the community. It was awesome.
Doug was ready to present, but he had to drop for another meeting, so we'll have to catch him on the next one. But
all right. Well, I mean, I can share if you'd like.
Yeah.
We're still kind of basic on what we're doing. I know if you see my monitor.
Yep, it's showing now.
Okay, so yeah, like I said, we run several 12 different estimators. So the way we handle ours, we currently have just one workspace and have everybody set up together. And then underneath each of ours, we have our bidding submitted projects. And we'd like to eventually see something there where we could kind of filter it down, have the calendar and all like I was speaking about. But everybody's working in one workspace, has the same templates to use. And it's kind of neat working in the same workspace. You can tell what somebody's in. You can look there and see Jillian's working on this bid right now. So you can jump in and help out or check out progress or whatever. But as far as what we're working on right now, we're just real basic with the templates. Just some footings, some point loads, and really not driving anything yet. And that's what we're talking about. We're wanting to build in all the back end pieces, which I'm starting to test out on some of the things I'm doing myself. But yeah, this is where we're heading towards, is having this wall system where we put in the heights, and it's driving all of our rebar verticals and backing out block for bond beams and joint reinforcement and dowels and all that stuff, all calculating, kind of like everybody else is saying. You just grab a hold of it, and well, that page isn't scaled, but
Yeah.
But let's see, where did I have it at?
A1.1 is scaled. There you go.
Yeah. So yeah, just being able to go in there and start pulling some things, and it's adjusting as it's going. So yeah, it's great. I mean, working on putting in the different variables for all the lap lengths and bar sizes and lift heights to be able to adjust our dowel sizes and the lap and how much we're using. And as I mentioned earlier, it'd be kind of nice. That was it'd be nice when we have like parent level or some way to feed back through, because I've got different things that it's the same 24 inches on the center for everything. If I could put it in one spot, then I think that's the way we're heading towards, and it'd be great. But that's just really kind of a quick and dirty how we're using it for. The majority of our jobs are residential and areas and linear footages and points, and then transitioned over to Excel. But eventually we want to be able to have everything more like a bidding straight out of this this software. So
Beautiful.
yeah, we messed around with it some on this, being able to do takeoffs and actually running pricing out of it. See, it's not on there,
Yeah.
but having it here and collapse all and actually driving a price, which for production high volume work, we're not really working changing production rates from laying brick on one building versus another. So it's more of a constant, simple thing to figure. And we can go and have price coming directly out of this based off the elevation. So that's kind of where we're at right now.
Nice.
Hopefully that's a good takeoff there.
Oh, no, it wasn't.
Andrew,
Yeah,
chiming in, perfect.
I work at Pulte Group.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
No, not a good one, but no, it was just some testing stuff, and that's really all we're into right now. Our phase one was just areas, linears, and counts, and then we transitioned that over to Excel. Phase two, like I said, as soon as we get it to where we can lock down all our formulas, then we want to go full bore calculating all our quantities and doing production rates and true estimating built into the formulas. So anyway, that's it for us.
Awesome.
You made an interesting comment on the 24 inches on center. Are you looking for like a global variable somewhere where you just change that one spot and it always points to it or something like that?
Yeah, like the way I had it built out in PlanSwift, when I came under the takeoff item itself, I would have a variable there for like vertical rebar spacing, and that was on the actual takeoff item, and then underneath it, I had the vertical rebar that would be driven by that spacing, and I would have rebar or grout below grade at bond beams and verticals, and of course that calculation use that vertical spacing for a piece of the grout calculation. So right now the way I've got it, I got to come in here and put my vertical spacing here, and then I got to go in there and put it in here. And as you see there, those were two different spacings. So they weren't consistent.
Just so you know on that, Heber's shown me some of the stuff that they've already updated on their local environment for this next release. He has it to where you can actually set variables like that, even at the folder level, and have it carry down.
Wow.
So there will be a lot of improvements on that with this next update. So that's you hit a really good point earlier, Corey. As far as just doing area linear segment count and then doing the rest in Excel, a large portion of takeoff users are doing that. And we're trying to build a platform to where no matter how advanced you have it, you can use zzTakeoff for it, and it's flexible enough. A lot of people use the very basics like that and then do the rest in Excel. That's just great. And the advanced users, if they want to do it all in zzTakeoff, we want to build it out to where it's very intuitive and easy to use. But yeah, there will be more flexibility on that, being able to set more of a global variable, even just at the folder level or whatever, and then have it carry down. But when you do that, you also have to take into consideration, if I want my default on center spacing to be 16, but then there's one item that I need to factor in a 24 inch, you have to be able to override it. So that's part of the trickiness with getting filled out. But yeah, Heber's the right guy for it. He's made some really good progress on it, and this next update will definitely help out on that.
Yeah, we also are building out other little tools in here. Like we use this for our invoicing as well. We might build a foundation for a house and we'll price it out as a 40-inch average. And then once we go out there and put the footing in and determine where the footing steps are at and what the actual foundation height is, we'll come back in with some kind of tool like this. And then actually use like oh shoot. Actually have it in a folder like that where we'll, trace out the foundation and say these walls are all 24, 48, and I don't know, wall over here that's 88. And
nice.
And
you've
then
got them color coded.
The reports. Oh, sorry, what was that?
Oh, sorry. I just said you've got them color coded. It's nice.
Yeah. So, right now we're just kind of doing that, bringing it over here, and then getting a total linear footage, total square footage, doing the math to figure out the average height. But like we were doing Plan Swift, we had the same thing built out, but actually had a formula in the folder name to where the folder name actually did the math for us. So you just traced them out and it told you what the average height was. So
awesome.
I was kind of curious, are you having any ideas about having being able to feed numbers back up to the folder level to display?
I'll have to ask Heber. That particular one hasn't come up, but it wouldn't surprise me I'll have to ask him. It may already be part of the folder stuff that he has working on his local environment, but I'll ask him about it. So
okay. Well, that's about all I've got to share today, really. You got a really great platform, an awesome start here. Everybody's loving using it. So.
Stephen Hallman, I haven't spoken, been listening and absorbing. Hey, one Steve. Of the things let me have a screen here. Let me show you. Where's all this stuff at? Having multiple screens open at the same time is a pain in the behind. Let me shut some stuff down. Anyway, well, my problem is I've done a takeoff for drill piers, which I'm going to do them by sizes to get them set up. But my rebar, I use my quantity rebar for labor, materials, and subcontract. So if I'm installing it myself or tying it myself, I don't need a subcontract number for tire. But if I haven't hired a tire, I need to keep money in there to support their operations. I still use the same weight, but I have a labor factor, a material factor, and right now each one of them I have to update individually to get to the same information, which sometimes being old and set my way gets in my way. Let's see if I can.
Well, that is a good question. I've always wondered why they're separate. Why is labor and material equipment separate items? I'm like, in estimating tools, I could do it all in one line. But I haven't figured that out yet. But
I haven't either. And that was just so when I do all my, if I'm, once I get my bearing elevation established and I put my top of pier in and I know what my depth. But I got to go back and redo it 3 times or 2 extra times in order to get the number that I'm looking for at the end of the day. And that's frustrating. And, I've been using ZZ for a week and a half now. So I'm really, but I'm coming from a spreadsheet background that I know exactly how it works. And,
well, you've tried to use ZZ to estimate too, which is gnarly, right? I mean, you're doing it all in a week and a half. That's crazy.
Well, that's what we're trying to do. And I've created a custom folder that says note estimator. So as I put this together, what am I trying to tell the future estimators they need to consider? So I've been working trying to work that factor into how I'm using the system. So, and I'm trying to break away from the old spreadsheet scenario where everything does it. So now I got to go back.
Yeah, it sounds like maybe a meeting with Todd would be in order on that. Todd's the guru when it comes to setting up the
Yeah, I
template.
can help him with that. We could
No,
do
it's
kind of
been helpful.
we could do an if then or a checkbox if subcontracted,
Yeah.
then it would
Yeah, the checkbox
delete.
sounds is really intriguing.
Yeah. So yeah, please, Steve, reach out to me. I'd love to spend some time with you and just kind of
So
show you how I'd handle it.
is my screen showing up on your screen,
Yes.
guys?
It is now, yeah.
Yes.
So right here, I have rebar 24-inch for 24-inch pier, and my quantities are different. So if I go pulling my table, I've got big long formula.
I love it.
Top of pier, bearing, elevation, number 8 bars. But if I change here, because I'm now on a different project and my penetration is now 15 foot, and my bearing is at 75, I got to go change it every place I'm doing rebar. I'd like to be able to pull up rebar and make the correction once and then adjust my material cost or my properties, not being limited to one property, I guess is where I'm. So I now hear cost. So I have it set up to different screen, but I would love to be able to do my material, my labor, and my subcontract, maybe even my equipment all on this one takeoff instead of having to do it individually for each node. So that's where I'm at right now. And that's because right now I just take them off by count and this and then dump them in my spreadsheet and it gives me my quantities like other people are doing it. But
Yeah, I'd like to see that. I love that formula, by the way. Did you write that or did you bring it in from another software?
no, I wrote it. I spent all day Saturday. So I have my Excel spreadsheet that gives me all the answers. So can you see my Excel spreadsheet just pop up?
Yes, sir.
So I just come here, my count, I put my stratum, and then I answer the questions as far as sizes rebar. And I do it all the way across the entire project. So I do a one.
Yeah.
So I was just going to do a template for each size. So if we're doing conceptual estimating, just 24, 36, they're all got the typical rebar. And then here, I clip off and just put my schedule in here so I don't have to go look back and forth playing some. And I have these all built out for footers and
Beautiful.
high walls and low walls. And I bring my rough quantities in here in the brown and I fill out and I look them up and I just answer the question. So I make myself go through and answer. But they get to be pretty cumbersome because I got a lookup table for my bar size. But what I found out when I did one for grade beams, I put all the stuff in it. And if I don't have void boxes on grade beam, I just hit the minus button, it goes away. So you can build your takeoffs for, I just have one for flat work and I just change it for slabs or paving or whatever. So I just have these, I'm trying to set up the generic takeoff structures.
Right.
But I'm trying to transition from doing the Excel spreadsheet and then that feeds to my grade beams here.
Yeah.
And this is where I do my adjustment.
We have Ulysses in on this meeting, Ulysses Salazar, and he owns Salazar Concrete. And he does the same thing as you do. He's got some just beautiful Excel spreadsheets, and we're trying to build it to match that. I know as soon as this new update comes out, it's going to be a whole lot easier for sure, where you won't have to go into each property and change it. Things like that can have more, I'm not going to say global for the whole unit, but at least by the folder maybe that where you can say, okay, this is an important entry here, and then it carries down to all those parts.
So check boxes, I think, would work. And then
Yeah.
basically, these are basically layers. So foundations for buildings, concrete work, and then I just change these, and it changes on the heading sections of it. So
Beautiful.
it works, but I have to do a lot of input one way or the other, which is then, I need to be able, this is my average labor on this particular parcel, and I've got pricing tables that I put my concrete here, and it kind of factors them out. So I have ways. I've got this sophisticated spreadsheet, but it's cumbersome, and it doesn't let somebody who wasn't part of building it and using it every day to intuitively stack it. So this is where I copy my takeoffs in, and then I turn them gray as I move them to each one of the, whether it's going to be estimate 1 or estimate 2. So, but it's 72. I'd like to, when I leave here at 75, I have someone else to pick up and do it themselves. So
Yeah. Chaz, are you a concrete guy?
Yes, I'm a concrete guy. I'm familiar with all of this for sure. I picked you guys up Plan Swift back in 07. I built many iterations from 7 or 8, 5, I can't remember, of Plan Swift, and that's where I finally got tired of playing that game. And yes, definitely just use it as a takeoff software. So again, that's where I'm at, and I'll estimate with a spreadsheet currently, unless I can figure out quick assemblies to get me through some things. So yeah,
it seems like with the world of concrete coming up and as many concrete users as we have, this almost needs to be a priority when this new version comes out. It really does. Because between the different types of rebar, the weights per rebar, the different ways they're being used, the different concrete, how they're doing it, how deep is it, everything.
Todd, did you guys still have that formulas section on the community? Didn't that you guys?
We have it. If somebody asks for it, we just send it over to them.
I thought there was a repository because I remember back in the old Plan Swift forum, somebody had turned me on to an old school rebar formula that divided it by 8 and did all the math on any rebar. I mean, it drained my RAM and my processing speed every time I moved something around, but it was flexible enough back in the day for sure to just handle any rebar at any time.
I think people like Kyle and then the concrete have the roughest job estimating. I mean, framing's not easy either, especially like what Andrew does with all these multiple homes with all these different variations and everything else, and then all these people all across the country. You guys, all estimators, are a special breed of people that are diehard, figuring things out, getting it done type of thing. And having that answer, which hopefully is easy in the future, is just going to be the key to everybody's happiness, including mine.
Yeah, so question came in on chat from Jake if there was a list of hotkeys. And yes, in the top right corner next to your user icon, there's a question mark. And the top option in that is keyboard hotkeys. So that'll show you a list of the hotkeys there. So I think that gets us through everybody, unless anybody had anything else they wanted to show as far as anything on your screen, your computer, or anything.
James, I'd like to ask how we could kind of format this advanced user group. I'll call it AUG for right now.
Yeah.
For future chime-ins, I mean, I'd like to just kind of maybe chime in every 2 or 3 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks. But it'd be nice to have some
predictable stream a little bit
Yeah,
agenda.
for sure. And Todd and I were talking about this a little bit before this meeting. So the plan is for this Thursday one that happens every Thursday, I think it'll morph more into kind of an advanced webinar for anybody. And then we're talking about separately setting up a group of like a lot of people that were on this call today, setting up a separate one. And yeah, and I don't know if we do that every 2 weeks, we'll have to kind of fill it out, but we'll set that one up separate. We'll probably not plan on posting those on YouTube. The Thursday one, we want to get into a routine to where we can post them on YouTube each week.
Okay.
And it'll probably be more of picking something like next time it'll be work breakdown structure. But then, yeah, this advanced user group, we're going to set that up separately and then probably still record it so I can relay information to the development team if there's stuff that comes up there. And that'll be a little bit more of, wishful thinking. What if ZZ could do this? Whereas the advanced webinar for Thursdays, we want to focus on here's how you do this in zzTakeoff today. But yeah, I'm excited for it. I think it'll be amazing. But was there anything else that anybody wanted to add before we wrap it up?
All good here.
Okay,
I
perfect.
just want to chime in and say thank you guys again for putting this together.
Yeah.
This is huge, and it's really, really awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you. It's, I appreciate all of you, your input. Pretty much everybody on this call has been very vocal on the community and helping steer the product for what customers need. So we're definitely very thankful for that and glad to be back. We built PlanSwift years ago, sold it, and it was sad to see how the customer service and everything went way down and the pricing went way up. And for a long time, people wanted to get back in and build a new takeoff tool, and we resisted for a long time. But really, we're back to rescue the customers basically, because all the takeoff players in the field were just raising their prices, and not putting out any updates. And we're like, we got these people. We need to take care of these guys. So that's why we're back, is to fill that gap. So
I watched PlanSwift just get absolutely roasted the other day in the estimator subreddit of no, tell us what you're doing. Like, what is the next thing? And they're like, we're still talking about it.
Yeah. Yep.
All the way to the bank.
It's all sitting on a shelf, isn't it? Is it still Oracle? Is Oracle on it now, or no? That plan page.
That's the reason we're back. Is just there are a lot of customers that need us, and a lot of people wonder why our price is where it is. But we're back to take care of the customers, and we want to provide a product that becomes the standard in the industry. I mean, Stack and these guys are charging $3,000 a year. We could be charging that, but that's not us. Like, when the original PlanSwift price was like less than a third of anybody else in the industry when we came in. We're in this to serve the customer and to provide something that everybody can afford and benefit from. We want to push the industry forward and make it the best takeoff tool out there. So
far it is.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. I believe it is. I believe we've gotten to the point where it is the best takeoff tool. There's still a few things we need to add to eliminate all the use cases from the others. There's still a few we got to knock out, but I do believe we have passed the point where it is the best takeoff tool on the market, and then at a very affordable price too. So, well, I really appreciate everybody joining the call. This has been amazing, and we'll look forward to doing more webinars and then also putting together an advanced user group. And we'll definitely invite all of you to that. So
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks,
have an awesome day. We'll wrap it up with that.
All right.
Thank you. You guys on the net. Take care.
Yep.
Bye.
We'll do.